Good evening, everybody, and hello, and welcome to another episode of the Elendor Chronicles, brought to you by the Component Cast. As you can see, I am not in my normal setup, so please, hopefully things will be not squiffy and sort of all right. But who knows? Other than that, we've got a few things to get underway. Why are the cameras aligned different? All of a sudden, like I was saying, there might be some small technical stuff, but I will fix it as we go, and we will get tonight's show on the road. But before we start, we've got our normal stuff to cover. As always, we need to thank our wonderful friends over at Syrinscape, who help bring this TTRPG table to life. They allow me to, even remotely, when I'm not in my office, send fantastic music all across the internet to other parts of the world and have my players listen to the awesome sounds that we've curated for this game. Music that's been created by the wonderful Music D20. Definitely go check them out. There's also links to all of that in the description. But if you are interested in Syrinscape, go to syrinscape.com. For more information, or download the iOS app or tablet app or mobile app. The app comes with 20 free sound sets to get you started, and yeah, you can have fun starting bringing some atmosphere to your table. Unless there are any other things that the group want to cover, we will get right in with tonight's broadcast.
We stand together, foes, friends, and unaligned, to set right a world for the mortal kind. At this, the apogee of all the bloodshed, this great summit where fate hangs her solemn head, it is up to I to duly justify what will happen to those from heaven high, from down below in plains of such hatred. From fire, earth, air, and water created those of fey and bewildering wilds, even to us, which divinity doth smile. So I put to you, the immortal titans vanquished, I say leave with honor, or be banished. For those that leave with their heads held in dignity may stake their hold on mortals willingly, placing their faith in your sublimity. Yet those that refute my generous overture, those who would see to destroy mortal love, art, culture, their freedom to choose, fight, fail, laugh, and grow, I shall strike them down with a banishing blow. Those that shall not heed this decree for warning will find their flock in despair, mourning the loss of their god, for I will cast out that rebellious soul without a doubt. Your time is over. All is said and done. The war is past us and the battle won. So, hear my decree, or forget your litany, for now is an age of true brilliancy. The past is the past. Your dominion is all but your. Now is the time for Elendor.
Midge, we can't hear you.
Sorry, that was me muting the mic on this. Like I said, small technical difficulties will occur tonight. We're back. Who would like to do the recap this week?
I can finally say I did it last week, so someone else can do it.
I've still got inspiration from a month ago.
Sure.
Go ahead.
It was a heartfelt episode. Most of it was spent of us traveling to Lagrun's land. We got from the ship from the port of Soles, I want to say, to Crystalhafen and met Zepp's family and his uncle, who turned out to be not a villain twirling his mustache like Ruby much expected. Definitely a bureaucrat, definitely a merchant, but not a villain. We kind of allayed the seriousness of our situation and the seriousness of our cargo, and he spared no expense making sure that we had everything we needed to continue the distance between Crystalhafen and the capital, which we were conveniently arrived by an airship. We then used the airship to get from A to B, and I think we were just arriving. We also had pretty much everybody had a very nice conversation with Joanna in private, saying their own version of goodbyes, parting gifts, giving hugs, except Ruby, who didn't get a hug.
Yep, that's pretty much it. We as a group, you arrived finally in Legrung's land by ship from Celeste, meeting Zepp's family and his family estate, and the abundant wealth that Zepp kind of came from, and you spilt the information about who Joanna really was, and you let Joanna decide how she wanted to return home, which was openly. She wanted to be known that she was coming home, as this was, to her, her homecoming, and to her, she hadn't been gone all that long, but in reality it's been a while, and if the world is to be as hopeful as she says it is, or of her return, she thought it best that you guys didn't go in disguise. If that's the right call. We don't know yet, but we joined off right as the skyship breaks from the clouds and the sky below clears from what you've been seeing, those of you who went and saw Joanna and saw from the viewing the viewing dock. It's gone from farm fields to small parts of townage, cities, until even those of you on the top deck can see the towering, mountainous castle citadel that is the Festung. Its blackened basalt and obsidian walls reaching above a heavily modernized and almost wondrous city. Within the tower of the Festung seems to be a skydock or places for skyships to park and land. As you can see, there are other cruisers and much larger skyships that you're on, actually adjacent to the castle itself. It is a beautifully sunny day, and during the clouds and the coverage, ships actually joined you in escort, slowly, one by one, more and more military ships, all signaling and kind of heralding the return of Joanna. Party, what would you like to do? Where would you like to be?
Ruby's probably on the bow, just looking at the city with a big grin on her face. And is Zepp nearby?
He's probably in the bowels of the ship with the engine stuff.
Okay. Zepp! Zepp, we're home and you're not even here to see it. Okay. Sure.
So yeah, if Ruby, I'm guessing you gather around and slowly trounce the ship, looking for the rest of your party.
Yeah.
We can say
We're
that
here!
we can all gather as the skies of Rechin, or Reshin, come into view. One
What's
of the
the
same.
Weather temperature, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's sure. It's probably about, well, up here it's colder, so it's hard to tell, but it's probably about 15 degrees C.
Chilly.
Yeah, it's a little chilly. Okay.
It's like jacket weather.
Good April 15th weather.
I have an unfortunate thing of, I think your microphones are coming through my mic at the same time, even though you're miles away from the thing. I don't think it's, like, echo. I just think the mic line is sending it through my mic and your mic. So I need to try and be hot on my muting today.
Okay.
Yeah, you one of the sailors comes over and he says, we are probably about 30 minutes from dock. If you have any last things you need to do, now would be the time.
I'll be fine, thank you. Just, I don't see big cities very often. Last one I was in was a shithole.
And this one is anything but a shithole.
Oh,
That says as he appears from the dock, from the interior. You should have
Looks
said that we were
wondrous.
getting close.
Zep just morphs out of the ground, out of the ship.
Gnomes don't have to walk through walls on ships. They magically appear.
part of the ship.
And one thing that I will say about Zep, like whenever he's up on the deck, he has his goggles down, like an airman usually does.
Sure.
He also have a long white scarf to make sure his neck doesn't get.
Yes.
Flap in the wing. If he puts
flapping
one
in the
leg up,
wind.
does he pose heroically?
Yeah.
Well, we should let
So
you
here
out,
it's
Noel,
his. This is Russian. As far as
Is
I can
the-
see over the side, anyway.
I
Is her
believe that tower there is about as large as my entire town. It is,
Yeah, this is the Festung, the citadel that the Duke lives in.
it
I actually
is-
I don't know how big Ruby's town is comparatively speaking to this place. Probably not nearly as big, but
To put into perspective, your town probably maxes out about 40,000 people. This is close to 500,000. It's
Okay.
probably one of the biggest cities anywhere.
sure.
How
King's
do so
Landing.
many people live in such a small area?
I wonder if Her Majesty
All
is
buildings.
presentable.
Cut to Zedaar.
Joanna, we're about to be there.
Coming! And after a few moments, you hear rustling and then the door open. Joanna, she seems to have donned a... It's an off-white dress with a green bow, like around the belt. She's still got her green cloak on and her staff in hand. And Zedaar, you also noticed that the slight padding of her armor is just below the dress. Like it seems like she had one that fits and can hide at least some of her armament. It's not the full jacket, otherwise it'd be look bulky. But you can see like there is some of the armament there still. It's kind of there's a mix of that like princess facade over an adventurer's gear.
Sure. Mhm.
You ready?
I am indeed. We are here, yeah?
We should be there within the next couple of minutes, yes.
Take my hand,
It is
Zedaar.
natural to be nervous.
Would you-
Excited too, I expect.
Would you take my hand, Zedaar?
He'll take her hand.
And she leads you above deck to where everyone else is. And all of you just watch as this city essentially dawns on your horizon, and you begin to lower to not the lower echelons of the Festung, but what seems to be a private landing, right towards the top. Gilded and guarded. As the skyship lowers, you hear the siphons of energy from the gems above like hum and dissipate down the sides as you can almost feel the gravity change as it both slows and turns to fit with the dock. The Marines then tie off the ship with huge sort of anchorage, and to the side of the ship a staircase is brought. Again, gilded, and down the steps you see a line of probably about 50, 25 on each side, Warforged sentinels of the Star Legion, standing at attention, with 3 individuals awaiting you at the foot of the staircase.
Zedaar's just kind of looking around at the party like,
I can honestly say that everything that I was expecting, this is not what I was expecting.
I had feared the worst, but it looks like we're being warmly welcomed, if that is the right term.
I do admit I expected duplicity. I'm pleased to find, so far, none.
The politics has not yet started. But for now, we should bask in what, on the surface at least, seems to be more positive.
Joanna turns to you and says, "Well, shall we?"
Yes.
Lead on. This is your return after all.
And she begins to descend the steps. The individuals are like further down this sort of docking corridor. And as she walks past each of these Warforged, they go to one knee in bow in respect. And you file on past, and they do not stand until you, the group, Zep, your uncle, is also with you. He has appeared, and behind you, the Marine captain and her Marines, following down in this small procession, and they do not raise until they pass you. You pass them. Until the 3 individuals standing in front of you, you see 2 humans and 1 Warforged. You hear one of the humans and basically, by the arcane, Your Majesty, you have not aged a day. And then the Warforged individual turns to them and goes, "But this is her. I know it to be true." And forgive me, Your Majesty. You probably do not know who we are. This wiry kind of human that seems to be the more vocal of the 3. Sorry, I should give a better description. The 3, you've got a very wiry, grey-haired, small glasses individual who's in regalia. He seems to be doing a lot of the talking. The Warforged seems to be in mage's robes, stood slightly aback. And then you have a female lady, of course, a female human who is stood there fully clad in plate armor, with 2 hammers, war hammers, at her sides. My name is First Minister Grendel, Christian Grendel. I am one of the ministers of the mayor. This is Field Marshal Fiora Hollenhammer. She is First Minister of the Mesa. And my metal brother here is Denka. He is the First Minister of the Mantle. We are those who, well, the Chancellor could not be here. He is with your father right now. And should you wish, we will take him to you. Take you to them. Whom is it you bring with you?
Ruby will gesticulate towards the group. We are the Skyfire Adventuring Company. I myself am Anrayne Sunderstar, though please call me Ruby. My compatriots Zedaar, Valamir, I believe you know Mr. Skyspan here, and Darius Vinard of Vinard Mercenary Company. And I believe you need no introductions for Her Royal Majesty, Highness?
Her Majesty will do.
Her Majesty.
It is good to meet those who would return the most precious of our lost home. And it is wonderful to see you, both of you Skyspans, fellow Legolanders, be
And Braun,
involved
of
in
course.
such. Pardon, repeat that, sorry.
And Braun, of course.
And how could I forget Braun? It is also more paramount that you have some of our homeland kin with you. But I'm sure Her Majesty would want to get home properly. And with that, he turns and begins to lead you all down the rest of the dock towards a huge set of ornate. You're not sure if it's blackened marble or black marble or some sort of obsidian doors that are protected by two golden warforged, who are much larger than the rest of the warforged you've seen as well. Zep, you will have seen these once before. These are warforged of the Honor Guard. These are some of the most revered warriors within the Star Legion, and they open the doors, and you are led into a round chamber. All of the walls are filled with hollows with statues and various works of art. And other than the door that you've just entered through, there doesn't seem to be any doors exiting this area. And you wait. The Marines stop at the door, and they salute you as you go inside. And the doors are then closed. A voice rings out within the room. In Legolandslander, it says, "Where to?" And the Warforged individual that joined you, identified as Denka, goes, "Royal Chambers." And the circle you will stand on begins to rise under what sounds like machinery underfoot. And the walls go past, a new layer of artwork, and you climb higher and higher in the citadel structure before being greeted by another set of gilded doors. In front of it, even more of these much larger Warforged. And there, in front of the doors, stands two individuals. One slightly older individual, human, and another which anyone from Legoran's Land would not fail to recognize. As there in front of you stands the Iron Duke himself, looking no older than 40, in fine black robes, both majestic and fit for work. His dark black hair, slightly graying in the sideburns, and a slightly thick beard. The only thing that looks old about him are his eyes and the dark circles underneath them. He stretches out his arms, goes to one knee, and says, "Joanna." And Joanna just runs. She drops her staff and just runs as she embraces her father.
Ruby will pick up the staff.
And they just hold a tight hug for what becomes an awkwardly long moment.
I was just thinking, this is awkward.
Before the other gentleman next to the Duke kind of and the Duke just puts up his hand, pulls out of the hug, and just looks at his daughter. Zedaar, you definitely notice because you are high perception. There are tears down her father's face. He stands up, he wipes away, he wipes his eyes and says, "Well, Joanna, would you care to introduce me to your rescuers? Please, friends, come with me. Follow me into the chambers. Chancellor, I believe we are done for the day. You may leave me. And you two First Ministers, please prepare any preparations for Joanna's return. The child is home, finally. But please, adventurers, enter. I'm sure we have a lot of things to discuss." And if you do, I take it you all begin to step forward into the royal chambers.
I imagine as he turns around and starts to walk in, there's a notable like release of tension from Zedaar. Like he was nervous that this could have gone any number of ways, and it seemed like this was probably the best way it could have gone.
Yeah, I'm echoing that feeling.
Yeah. Oh, thank God he's not crazy. Well, Ruby's gonna look for some wood and just end up knocking on the staff just in case.
Zep's going to linger for a moment, looking back at the lift, kind of going, huh.
Clearly, that's what's important right now.
The true plot of the game.
Yeah, the lift.
Yeah, Zep needs to know so he can replicate building it for when you have your own citadel.
I'm telling you, anybody from an MMO will tell you the elevator is the endgame boss.
Yeah, as long as the elevator's got doors on it, then sure. Being locked in an elevator, the end game of D&D.
But nonetheless, you'll step through the gilded doors, and they shut behind you. Zep, you're Uncle hangs back and he begins to go with the first ministers. It seems like he feels like that the deals he has might be better put to them first.
I'll kind of like glance at him, just like wait for some kind of acknowledgement, and then I'll just nod and then follow the others.
He gives you a hand of, it's okay. Like
Portfolio of government contracts he's ready to pull out and start suggesting.
So here you get your data back. I would like to build this, and
Yeah, it's more like a you enjoy the party. I've got work to do. Kind of look. It's that. But as you step through, the doors shut behind you, and you hear the as you hear the descent of the platform, the elevating platform, and you are greeted by, at first, what looks like, for a moment, a massive workshop. And you see the Duke run over to a table right near the door, pull a lever, and all of the walls begin to move. And essentially all of the things that were like sketching tables and workbenches sink into the floor, and up comes sofas and a fireplace, and the walls change from being like a wall of like tools and parts and all sorts of work, like heavy machinery, begin to swap aside to painted walls, bookcases, and a large open window that overlooks the city, as well as doors to chambers.
a cast clean room.
Zep looks very disappointed.
Oh,
This looks like this place had its own Zep.
Yeah, it was more homely before,
one day, buddy. One day.
but this is not about us. This is about Joanna.
Indeed.
Does it look similar to the place that, you know, when we entered the pocket dimension, I guess? Is it looking similar to when we first met Joanna?
The architecture is definitely similar. This room isn't something that you saw necessarily, but the dark stone, the gilded marbling, like it's very, very, like, you could tell that they clearly crafted something at least very close. But
Is the view the same?
it's not quite the same, but you're not in Joanna's chambers right now, or what would be
Also been-
Joanna.
The skyline is similar, but it's
But
not
yeah,
exactly the view.
It's
you're
also been 75 years, so
you feel like you're a couple stories lower, and there are some new buildings out there. Yes, but it looks very, very, okay. We are in the top of the citadel, essentially.
Is this a feeling of nostalgia for anyone else?
Sure. We have been in something similar. And she'll look over towards the Iron Duke.
In the time that you guys have been looking around, he has been sort of quietly talking to his daughter, who he picked up and carried in.
She's like 15 years old!
Yeah,
Okay.
go on 75 years. Parent doesn't care.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, no.
There is.
No, I get it. It just, God, I'm 45 years old. You're heavier than you used to be when you were 5. Kind of thing.
You're heavier than you used to be when I was younger, basically.
And he puts her down, and you may go to your room, or you may stay and regale me of your adventures. But I would like to, at least first, talk to these friends of yours. I'm
She
so
is a
happy that you're
companion to
home.
us.
And Joanna looks to him and goes, I have some new books to put on my shelf. But I'll be back after. And you see her take one of the newly appeared doors, and go down a corridor, which Zedaar, from your angle right now, you can probably see that doorway looks highly familiar. And that hallway looks very familiar. The Duke turns to you all. Sure, all of you. How?
It's quite the tale.
Yeah. Please. I owe all of you, it seems, a life debt. How have you achieved something many people have tried to for many, many years?
Pure skill, obviously.
Tell me,
Your
shush.
dumb luck.
Destiny and a little bit of luck.
And a little bit of ingenuity as well.
I suppose
Yes.
divine guidance at that.
We got lucky.
We're going to need something to drink. This is a tale.
But of course, well, where was I? Ein moment. And you see him go to, sort of like
He's an intercom.
a set of buttons on the wall, and he presses like two of them, and out of the floor near one of the sofas disappears into the floor again, and a bar appears.
Wow.
Please help yourselves.
Zep, I want that built in the wagon.
So do I.
Ruby will make herself a drink or something.
Yeah, go for it. That is essentially a fully stocked bar. You could, right there, should you wish. So, how did an eclectic band of adventurers and heroes come to find my daughter?
You are addressed as Your Grace? Yes?
At this point, please, just call me Ichabod.
I don't think I could do that, but I will certainly try. Believe it as it may happen. Oh, sorry, Zedaar, go ahead.
Do you want the long version or the short version?
I want to know everything. Because you tell me everything, maybe I can tell where I went wrong.
Well, first,
Well, it all started when I was a wee hatchling in Sunderstar.
well, let me preface this by saying a few things. Your daughter has braved a journey of over 1,000 miles without so much of a complaint. She has stared down threats of dragons and more, and has not hesitated to defend those in need. And were she not obligated to be here, I would gladly call her a companion of our company. You should be proud of her. I know I am.
Well, thank you for your kind words. I've always known she is special.
We'll get to that in a moment.
Yes.
As it so happens, all of us were abducted, for one reason or another, by the gangs of Retberry. And were conscripted by threat of death and magical compulsion to carry out a task. This task led us to a constructed box of some kind that led to an alternative dimension, a pocket plane, I believe, in which we found Joanna. The key to this box was possessed by an elven ambassador of the Eladrin Empire. the same ambassador that was killed and is now the source of contention between the Rhaenian Empire and the Eladrin Empire.
I think Midge is trying to sort out some OBS stuff. Hang on.
No. I was, but I also accidentally just closed all on my Google tabs. But the Duke looks concerned.
Put your mind at
We
ease.
did not kill the ambassador. That was the gangs of Redbury. We did not do that.
We have nothing to, well, I say we had nothing to do, but we do not have any involvement in the current conflict between the two.
We have a distinct amount of actual. Yes, we had something to do with this.
No.
We did not kill him, though. When we left him, -1 key, he was alive.
When we left him on the boat with only one way to go, he was still alive.
We
Our
did not
first
kill him.
thought and our only driving motivation was to get Joanna home. And through no amount of effort, no amount of small effort did we get her here, traveling through the Rhaenian Empire and through Nardafell. The other key factor to this, and perhaps you might be able to shed some light on it, is the elves are looking for her, and they call her the Weapon. I don't know for certain what she is. I can only deduce that her powers are unique enough that she can alter reality. And I have a sneaking suspicion she is divine in nature.
Though I suspect you already knew that.
No, please, go on. Tell me what you think you know about my daughter.
Insight.
Go
Now's
for
an
it.
insight.
Yeah, go for it.
That sounded.
I don't need to roll inside. I know exactly what that meant.
Yeah, I know what he's saying.
So from those two rolls, you can clearly tell that he knows a lot more about his daughter than you guys do.
Or at least he thinks he knows a lot more
Or he
than
thinks
we,
he does.
than
At
we
least
think we
he's
do.
Yeah, that's his mindset. And
Of course
he
they
seems
call
to
her
be
the Weapon.
assessing.
That's how I sold her.
You seem to be assessing. He seems to be assessing you.
Well, I will mention also that the gangs of Redbury also seem to be under the inclination that she was some form of weapon. Whether or not they got that information from the elves or not remains to be seen, but as for what Joanna is, truthfully, it's hard to say. I believe she was some form of divine being as well, but to say specifically what that is hard to say. She's shown abilities to be able to, well, to put things in a very blunt way, literally reshape things as she sees fit. But powers that we have not seen or heard of elsewhere, at least not in mortal kind.
I did try to look up her powers before, but had no success.
Everything from
And Zedaar will just gesture over towards the staff.
making that into a form that she saw pleasing, changing colors of clothes,
Reshaping this, and he'll gesture towards the cloak pin that he's wearing on his cloak.
trying to plug a hole to an alternate plane of existence by shoveling dirt into it. We've seen her do all manner of things, creating barriers that channel on the high-level powers of magic. I would not have described them as impenetrable, but one of them was, to be certain. There's also the other barrier that was very, very
As
cold.
you list, a new wave of concern fills the Duke's face. He goes from listening to deep in thought. Well, you are correct. My daughter is no ordinary girl. Before we go down this path, I need you to know I can trust you all. I know that you have brought her back, but I hold yet one more secret.
You seem like the kind of person to hold more than one.
Well, tell me. I see you have another of my children with you. What do you know of their kind? What do you know of the Warforge? As the commoners use the call.
That's a good question. What do we know about them?
Zedaar just turns and looks at Zep, like...
I know that Braun has been nothing but a loyal friend to all of us. And
And a comedian.
Cards.
He is very interested in cards. He is a character.
Somehow also very good at slots, even though that has absolutely no basis in skill. It just he somehow just keeps winning that one.
Well, evidently it has a lot to do with skill because he's
I
very skilled at it.
guess.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
It's actually.
yeah.
Quite...
Probable.
I know Braun is friend.
Yes, the most true companion that I have.
Remind me, Zep, what color soul is Braun?
He's a mix, actually.
Yeah, I thought he was.
It's cerulean. He's the sailor type and the martial type.
Huh. Well, a long time ago, I was studying the properties of this beautiful material that would frankly change the world. And through my studies, I developed the crystal seal. Crystal souls. The Warforge, you know. Your friend Braun here is unique, as most crystal seal have. I'm trying to find the word in common, but they have a pull that draws them in a certain direction dictated by the color of their soul. Your friend here is unique, as he has not only different aspirations, which his soul is showing, but I'm sure influenced by his closest friends. Looking directly at you, Zep. He has developed a drive outside of his sole purpose. It is unique, but beautiful nonetheless. It is souls like Braun here that made me realize that these beings are more than just machines. Now, these souls derive their power from ancient mystery, which I was trying to find the answer to. You see, he then begins to walk over to one of the walls where there is a large painting above a fireplace of a woman. This is my wife. Was my wife. And you can all see the resemblance to Joanna. My wife was helping me research one day. When something bad happened. We were studying the most beautiful gem I had ever seen. Its soul potential was unmatched. And it was when we realized this was no ordinary gem. This gem itself was a divine source. A life gem. It itself could create more entities. It is the ignition pin, the spark, which helped me create the crystal soul. And we wanted to know if it itself was My daughter is no ordinary girl. And as he goes to that mantle, he pulls a hidden lever. The walls begin to change again. But this time just revealing a door. Please, if you would, follow me to my workshop. My proper workshop.
You've probably never seen Zep move so quickly.
Yeah, you didn't put a leash on him. Step down, down. Ruby actually looks a little concerned.
Yeah. Belmir's like, he's wary.
Let us go look at your workshop, Mr. Soon.
He leads you down a corridor, which opens into a humongous space. It's almost like a production line in here. You see around you essentially a factory for Warforged. Most of it gathering dust. Seems like the production line hasn't been going for a while. But still, furnaces roar and there is then motion. Eigenglau, I bring some friends. You hear like a as imagine an old man warforged. Slightly hunched, with darkened brass, and deep. What color was it? I think it's apologies. It is a oh no, he's got a faint sort of grey color to his eyes. So Master brings some friends. This is unheard of. He kind of it's over. Welcome. What is it you want, my liege? Eigenglau. We have her back. The Duke stumbles. We're going to show them what we were working on. The Warforged nods. Moves over to console.
What's Braun's reaction to all of this?
What is Braun's reaction to all of this? It is
Uno reverse card.
This is essentially where Warforged come from.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
And Braun is essentially meeting his creator. So I'd say he's a mix of awestruck and fearful. The Iron Duke then turns to you again. Joanna is such a blessing to me. My wife and I, for a long time, tried and tried to produce an heir. But we simply could not. Until Joanna. But
She was born?
in a sense, yeah. But in another, no.
Okay. Straight answer. Was she born?
Darius. Get who you're talking to.
Yeah, I think I kind of want to know this.
I do too.
Straight answer. Born or something else? Because that has a definition.
He was born. But not in the common sense of the word. You see, maybe it is easier if I show you.
And before there's a line of Joannas just
And from a table that raises in front of you,
Attack of the Clones.
is
They're all just Ripley.
a
Aliens 3.
human kind of what seems to be a human body, that looks like Joanna, but older.
Wait, are you trying to tell me that Joanna is a warforged, but in a human body?
Oh my god. We have B4, data, lore, lol. It's all lined up.
She is not a warforged. She
Mage
i-
forged?
Clone with the spirit that you put into her. Of that crystal?
She is my daughter.
You
She's also the
called
spark.
John your son.
She's
Joanna, please. And from behind you, Joanna enters,
okay.
and her father holds out a hand. She takes it, and she lies down on the bench next to this other version of herself. And
Ruby is visibly creeped out at this point.
No. She
Joanne-
it wasn't a time stop crystal thing. She just doesn't age. 'Cause
Jo-
she's a fucking machine.
Joanna, he takes the necklace that's round Joanna's neck, pulls it off of her, lifts her hair, and seems to insert the necklace, and Joanna's chest opens
Electronic net.
to reveal a beautiful, brilliant green crystal.
God damn it. He's a fucking Cylon! You made me care for a Cylon, you son of a bitch! God damn it!
What was Joanna's reaction to all this?
She's in maintenance mode. She doesn't know.
Shh.
Was she
And-
acting like this is just a common everyday occurrence? Like she understood this? Or she like the least bit surprised or shocked at this piece of information?
Joanna right now looks to be sleeping. It
Yeah.
seems
Okay. Fair enough.
Are you telling me that this girl, who has shared our joy, our sorrows, our victories, and our defeats, was manufactured?
She's eaten things. Like,
She's acted like bratty teenager.
yeah.
Yeah, did an act?
Well, it's a heuristic learning program.
It is
that
not
she's
Oh my
utilizing.
god.
an act.
It's not data, calm down.
Please, all of you. You are talking about my daughter. She is still that. I told you there was an accident. My wife at the time when we were experimenting, was finally pregnant. And, sadly, my wife did not survive the accident. I myself lost a part of me, and he pulls off his glove, revealing an entirely metal hand.
I knew it! God damn it!
Mute yourself, damn it! I'm trying to tell a story! And the essence of our little baby made its way into here, and he just puts his hand to the stone.
The stone. It took her soul?
Her soul fused with the soul that was already inside. On the surface layer, she is my wonderful daughter. And she thinks and she learns like any little girl would. And then beneath, we have the most unique artifact of my nation and my study. The gem that brings life.
A literal divine spark.
The gem that saved lives. You see, that day, when everything went wrong, whilst it could not save my wife, it saved my daughter. Now I know that with the certain prejudices and the rules of my nation, I need an heir. The Warforge would not do. So, I made a form like no other. Almost perfectly human. With the eye. My magnum opus, in a sense. Crafting life to the finest detail.
What about you?
And then we have this form. When Joanna is finally ready, she will take to her adult form and have the power to rule eternally. Never
about
aging. I have overcome death for a lot of my time. But for me to continue living without her here, I had to stop creating life. Reserve my powers. Study. I have never been someone who is totally capable of ruling. When she is ready, Joanna will rule Legerung's land into a new age. Beauty and prosperity. Eternally. And I will retreat here. My workshop. And understand everything even more. But before then, Joanna needs to be ready. Any word of this leaving here will see me and my nation bring every amount of destruction to you. Even if you are a Legerangslander. The legitimacy of my state, my home, my crystal children, as he looks to Braun, and the people who live here, depend on stability. Something that I have only tentatively been able to give them. She is the one hope for everything. I do not know what she would do, but as her father, all I can do is hope and make the world a suitable place for her. He uses some sort of unseen force to return the gem to its housing in the smaller Joanna. Takes out
So
the
how did-
necklace, puts it back round her neck. She wakes back up.
How did she end up in this pocket dimension that we found her in? With a key to unlock it on an elven ambassador. How did that happen?
Who stole her from you and why?
Actually, pro pressing concern. Does she know?
She knows.
Like the full extent.
Yes. But she also
Would
knows
it-
not to reveal it.
Would explain why she was not so rattled when she was told about this time skip that she experienced.
We assumed it was some form of stasis. She was just sleeping. Literally sleeping.
But no, she was awake every single one of those days.
Not well, maybe.
But
No.
forgetting.
I do not think so, because remember, it still felt like just a week or two to her.
Maybe. Was she truthful about that?
She's had no reason to lie.
She had every reason to lie.
She
Really?
did lie.
If she told us that she was here for that long and didn't age a day, that would draw a lot of questions. Easy to let us draw our own conclusions.
Cover story. Add X amount of time to think it up.
Which means she might have an inclination of why she was taken. And then she'll look back to the Duke, and by whom?
I've spent 75 years trying to find that out. She is often called a weapon. And by the simple matter of her being able to create life, and as you say, change the world, she is. There are those from times before myself, any of you, where more powerful things existed, were here. Some of those things still remain and still remember. My assumption was one of them, or some of them, these creatures that have recently reared their heads in various areas of the Rien, as I hear it.
Dragons.
No. The others. The walkers from the other planes.
I as Beth have no clue what Zedaar's talking about.
The things that came out of the barn.
Oh,
Some of them are from other planes, yes, and my lady, you are not incorrect. Some happen to be dragons.
you understand that this girl, your daughter, people will view her power as providence. That will draw a lot of attention that might bring destruction upon your land.
It is not unheard of for a child known as the Miracle Child, who is the daughter of a great creator of life, to also be powerful. But yes, she will have her enemies. I am more worried about these forces from before. Politics of this world matters not in light of that.
That's not what I was referring to. Her very existence is a breach of contract that the divine accord was struck thousands of years ago.
It's more of a grey area. As you see, this gem never left this plane. It is an artifact.
I'm not sure people are going to see it that way.
You can tell that to the god of lawyers.
Oh God. Oh no, not the bureaucracy from Divine.
You mean Caphriel the Law Singer? I do not think she will get involved, but I do not know.
Very high commission rate, so it's hard to get her.
Yeah. 7 trillion gold.
That
an
is
hour.
like
Jesus.
that is like going to the district attorney when.
My point, sir. I have full faith that Joanna is capable of leading her own destiny and the destiny of your people to a great place. Revealing her to be as she is would bring a change to this world that it is not ready for. So I have no intention of revealing the secret.
But the Eladrins might.
I don't think the Eladrins know.
They know something.
They know
They
of
know.
her.
They know enough to want to capture her and lock her up for 70 years.
We don't, again, we're not certain that was her. Or them, excuse me.
They know enough to keep a key to this box that she was in. Like, there is something there. And now the two large kingdoms on this continent are going to go to war over it.
And also the Council von Redbury. Remember we saw the spy with Greer's stamp.
Her life is going to be in danger if she reveals her existence again, and they know she's here by now. We did not come quietly. We need to consider the possibility that somebody will come for her again.
But just as Joanna has made enemies, she has also made friends.
She's also
None of us.
lied to those friends.
I do not think she has.
You did not lie to us. I don't see
Lying by omission is still lying.
Well, put it this way. The Eladrin know of the stone. They have always known of the stone. Not of its power, but they know of it. It is actually one of many things that was left behind. How much do you know of the War of the Heavens and the Great Summit?
It was a bit before my time.
Only that which we've read, and that has been apocryphal at best.
Well, in those accounts, they are missing a few things.
I believe I fell asleep during that class.
The king who never was, left behind artifacts that would help keep our plane in the hands of mortality. Certain unique and impossible items. The crystal that Joanna's soul has now been bound to in symbiosis is one of those items. And if someone was to get a hold of all of those items, they could undo everything. In the histories or the religious texts, it tells you of the king who never was leaving seals that locked the divine beyond the Plania gate. That only mortality had the right to traverse into and from Elendor. That gem is but one of those seals. Each one is an artifact from the hero's own armaments, from their own possession.
That's what I saw from Caloris.
To have the power to change everything. And if they are after my Joanna, they will be after all of the others.
How many are there?
There are 10.
How many are you in possession of?
I think just the one.
Just the one. And he strokes the giant's hair.
Do you know the locations of any of the others?
If I knew that, would I tell you?
But I think I know a good place to look, Valmir.
Under the couch.
Zedaar actually just smacks Valmir over the back of the head.
Look, I get jokey when I'm nervous, okay?
I'm sure all of you have questions. So, ask away. Or not.
What caused the accident?
Ah. I miscalculated something. Something that I never do. And it is my biggest regret.
What did you miscalculate?
I miscalculated the contents of the gem. I thought it was divine energy, a spark, a word from creation. In fact, it was something else entirely in there. It seems that the power within the gem contained an essence of the hero.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And the reaction was so lethal.
He didn't just vanish at the end of the war. He divided his essence. This is one of those.
Well, he didn't vanish into scripture either. He spent 100 days. Or years.
Years.
Years. It's a lot right now.
The stories refer to it as both periods. It is surprisingly indecisive.
Well, he didn't disappear right away. He was setting things in motion. They, should I say. Even so, I do
setting
not
the
know
ball.
their identity.
The ball's in motion for the various kingdoms that now exist, yes. My point is, eventually he left, but he didn't ascend to heaven or wherever. Otherwise, there would still be whispers of him on the plains. There isn't.
There are still worshippers of him, though.
But are they granted power?
Very much so. There are very many clerics of the king who never was.
Oh, there are? I thought...
That's the entire Rien, the tie bears. They worship the king who never was.
Yeah.
I didn't think they got the power from him. I thought they worshipped the deities of that pantheon. I didn't think they were worshipped.
For clarification, some worship the deities of the pantheon, but a vast majority are of the king who never was.
That was my misunderstanding. I apologize.
Okay.
Let's go back to my chambers.
The world already has one immortal king. What's the difference for another one?
Well, that's kind of my assumption too. And technically, I haven't died yet, so who knows?
Yeah, about that. How are you still alive? You should be ancient. You look 5-10 years older than I do.
Well, some of the technology that I developed to design the exoskeletons and bodies of this little one revealed secrets to me that helped me extend my own existence.
Are you immortal?
Oh, by no means. I just learned how to siphon energy more efficiently, and surprisingly, losing my arm was very helpful in that.
You said that you had the power to create life. Was that through the crystal, or is it something you learned from it?
It is through the crystal, yeah. We take the soul crystals, which already have the capabilities. They are both the heart and the brain. I developed a conduit substance that works for Warforged, like blood does for other mortal races. And I designed specialized bodies for them.
Joanna has a soul. It is the spark. It is unique to her. Yes?
Joanna has her soul and whatever power is inside the gem.
It is unique.
So you say that Joanna would be effectively immortal and your own life has been extended. Can the damage that has been done to Braun be repaired? I've been trying, but with no success.
I can absolutely heal your friend. It will take time, but I can bring a hero of Legrungslang back to his fullest potential, so he can continue to explore the unique pathway that is driving him.
If that is his wish, then yeah.
as you all walk back to his chambers. You have rewarded me by bringing the most precious gift that has ever graced my dark existence back. And I am eternally in your grateful debt. What would you all have of me?
I have a question first. You said if we spread the news of what you told us today, that the fullest might of Lake Rungsland will hunt us. Okay. Why tell us?
Because we were going to find out eventually.
How?
There is no way I would ever let this go. There's too many questions, Valimir.
The fact that you brought her back to me in only what I can say is with a story that could not be made up. And I saw in you something that I could trust. Besides, Joanna told me just as much. That I could trust you. And that you all deserve the truth. Besides, she is very well protected here.
She was before, sir.
Well, I wasn't here. We weren't here. We weren't in a citadel. We were in the middle of nowhere when she went.
I thought she was here.
No, we were...
She was on an airship.
Oh. Speaking of airship, and Ruby's just gonna turn and look out the window. It's nice when you got there.
It is one of many now. Thanks to, in part, Mr. Skyspan's here family. They are great architects. This is why Lake Rungsland is a unique and beautiful place. And it is one of the very few happinesses in my life. That I have managed to garner a place with such brilliant intellect.
Can they sail? Or in the actual water, not just in the sky?
Some of the larger ones would probably just sink though onto their own fate. They are made for the air. But if they have to make a crash landing, they have means.
Oh, not crash landing so much as could they dock somewhere that didn't have a dock?
Currently, limitations say 9. That is why we can only land in the Nathathelian capital, the capital of Othray as well, and then over in the Principality of Korzak. They are the only places we have treaties with.
It is much easier for the airships to continue hovering. Going up and down is difficult.
It takes a great amount of power, and those brilliant networks of gemstones that keep them aloft, they can only hold so much. It's like a stasis of magic. It takes a lot to get them going, and a lot to burn them out. So you keep them running, and they work perfectly.
Guess we're on foot for a while then.
I am working on a few ideas, though.
That's a mighty battle wagon you've got there.
I would be very happy to hear some at one point. If you are just looking to get down to the city, though, we do not need an airship. We have other...
No, I was just curious about the reward of an airship, but it sounds like a lot of hassle and not very practical.
Well, yeah. But if there's anything I can do for you all, please name it. If you want positions, titles, money, gold.
Yes, not necessarily the money, but some sort of official recognition or titles or some sort of bragging rights?
Something Daddy would be proud of, Darius.
I will. I'm not afraid to hit you.
Done.
Something that you.
But
Darius,
that won't
would be
stop
proud
Daddy
of.
from hitting you.
What? And
Only thing I would wish for is for my friend to be restored and to be able to continue creating things.
no one is stopping you creating things, as is no one is stopping me, Master Skyspan. And I will
Just
help
the
your
way it should
friend.
be. Thank you.
Some crafting materials, perhaps.
I did it because I needed to get Joanna home. That's all that mattered to me.
That is indeed, of course, also what also mattered to me, but I would also not be very hard-pressed to say no to gold. It would not take much to convince.
Gold is something that we all need to live. Well, most of us. I would feel wronged if I did not reward you for what you have done, and how you have gone out of your way to return my daughter to safety. It sounds like you went through a lot of tribulations to get here.
Dragon fights, attacks by the Eladrin Empire, massive spiders from other planes, the undead.
That is the most worrying one.
The spiders.
The
Yeah.
undead?
No, the spiders. Unless they were brought... Please tell me about that event. Because with my understanding of... I mean, my understanding of cosmology is far less than some scholars. But I have a good working understanding for my own purposes. But unless those creatures were summoned by a mortal, that should not have happened. Were there any signs of summoning?
It was in a barn that was owned by some rural farmers.
But more to the point, it was underground.
It was described by one of you, I believe, more as a
Tear.
wound in the world.
Yes. Planar rifts do happen. I could say that from experience. But they are rare. Surprised your
When-
airships ever run into one,
When you
honestly.
smelt, was there any distinctive smells?
Can I roll a memory check?
Yeah, you can roll
So-
history. Or intelligence.
I think we was just dirty and
Smells
acrid.
like a
It was
barn.
acid. Yeah, it was acid, like acrid. But
12.
It's hard
I
to
was the one that was directly over the hole to look down.
Yeah,
with
so your
Devil's
DC
Sight
was
as well.
lower, so... You remember getting the feeling that it didn't seem like it was something of your plane. You felt like that you were looking either at a doorway or a rip into another plane, and yes, there was some acrid, sulfuric sort of smells.
smelled
There
like a
were
nasty
also
bog.
more spiders coming up through the hole when I looked inside.
We also
deeper.
never determined if they actually closed it. We left before everything was done. The Rhiannon was sending their.
If
keep
only
wanting to
this
call
would
them-
happen in Legoron's land, I would have a full report, but being in the Rien makes it very hard for me to get around certain jurisdiction lines, considering the
def-
current state of neutrality that I am in.
Your Highness, we can find that out. We
Yeah, we
happen
have
to
a-
have we have an inn, so to speak.
Well, if this was summoned, then that takes a load off my mind, because otherwise... things are unraveling, which is not a good sign.
Well, on our journey from Compound, we happened to bump into Crown Prince Wolfstan.
Of Syrien.
Yes.
Well, I mean... Wolfstan,
Like you do.
Is that... Sorry, it has been a long time since I've met any of the Rhiannon royalty. I take your word for it.
He gave us a signet that allows us access to certain things. You might be able to find that out if we can get past their theocracy.
We also have preferential treatment with the ecclesiasti as well.
Them, yeah, ecclesiarchy, theocracy, religious nutcases that run the place.
They're not well, some of them are not cases, but majority are just faithful.
And I say this all due respect to Zedaar. I have a hard time trusting anybody who believes that much in something other than themselves.
Well, I believed in myself, and I found only the divine above me, so take that as you will.
There's always a bigger fish. I'm not arguing against that, but...
Look. You need to understand that if this wound, as you call it, was not summoned, then we have a major issue.
It was there before we got there.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you didn't create it.
It wasn't circumstantial of Joanna's existence, which I think was the better concern.
Yes. It didn't appear in a,
Well-
there's Joanna, we're going to get her kind of deal.
You see, the thing is, I think I would be at ease if it was because of Joanna. Because then it is a mortal soul creating something which, does not break the planar rule set. If it is anything else, it means that the power of whatever is stopping the heavens from falling upon us again is weakening.
There's a point of concern. We've seen Joanna do a great many things. And she has accomplished it pretty much anything that she has set her mind to. But that wound was not something she could close.
She tried filling it in. I don't think she actually tried to close it.
It was treated like a hole, not a tear.
Yeah.
Also, while she is of great power, she still possesses the mind of the child. Yes, she is technically of a greater age than some of you here. Linearly. Mentally, she is still learning, and she still requires teachers. And teaching. It maybe was just something that came, she could not comprehend at the time. But if it truly was limited by her power, then I suspect that possibly one or more of the artifacts have been found, and someone is using it to weaken the world.
Oh, the belief here is that the more these seals come into closer proximity, the less stable they are.
It's more of energy is never lost, much as a soul is never truly lost once the mortal body dies. You go to wherever or whomsoever you believe in, and they welcome you into their embrace. For your devotion in mortality, you are treated with a reward post-tality. With the same rules, the more the seals are used outside of their intended purpose, the more the energy has to go somewhere. So, the less of them that are keeping things closed, my theory is the more energy is diverted away from whatever is keeping them out. And Joanna has existed long enough that I have had chance enough to notice that what we were, her existence and the previous life of the crystal was not enough to destabilize things.
Would this be an official commission from your empire? Find the source of these tears and come back with a report about them?
I cannot give you an official decree outside of my word, then everybody would know. Besides, my governmental power is not the greatest right now, because I decided to focus on other things.
So this would be a favor to you.
Yeah. Whilst, as the head of state, I, of course, have the final say, I haven't really been ruling for the last 75 years. I hit a wall when Joanna was taken. Not only could I not focus on my duties, couldn't even focus on my work. I haven't been successful in any way since she went. The few Warforged that were born in that time were already created at the time of Joanna's disappearance, and we just staggered their admission to the population to make things seem okay. But yeah, I can now hopefully get a grip of things. But I would be it wouldn't be unheard of for me to call in favors when things happened.
Well, that is certainly a path we can discuss taking. I understand that the Skyfire Mentoring Company has a bit of a future we have to decide after this.
Well, we have done what we have set out to do, so we have a bit of leniency and a time frame. So long as the world is not going to fall down on our heads in the next 5 minutes. But if it is, then it doesn't really matter what we do, so.
I'd like to spend some time discussing our next course of action, because we're not sure what we're going to do next, if we're even going to do anything together.
Very least, Zep needs to take some time for the Duke to see to Braun. We cannot rush out of here before he has done that.
And it seems the DM has to escape.
Well, I should have gone to break. Honestly, that would have been the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
We are right at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, we're right at the break moment. Yeah, so let's go to break. Guys, we will be back in a moment. Use this time, stretch your legs, and we will see you in a moment. 4. Okay. So, welcome back, everybody. We left off with the revelation of Joanna's true self being revealed. And now, the party are left with questions. As it stands, you are all currently stood with the Duke and Joanna. It is private chambers. It is just you.
Can we talk to Joanna?
Of course. Do you mean without me?
I think we've separated her from you and her too long already. I have no issue with you being here.
Good, because frankly, I do not want to let her out of my sight.
I get the feeling. It's kind of been my modus operandi for the last... How long have we been traveling?
From what you were telling me, a couple of months. But, no. Your care is one of the main reasons I trusted all of you. So, be my guest. Talk to my daughter.
How you feeling there, kid?
I am happy to be home. Again, thank you all for bringing me home.
How
And-
much of this have you been awake for?
What do you mean? As in... Well,
What was the last thing you remember?
I remember... the removal of my necklace when I laid on the table, and then waking back up on the table.
So you know that we know.
Yeah. And I sincerely hope that it does not change your view of me. Not only did you all teach me things and help me learn things, you guys very quickly became my friends. And yeah.
Nothing changes between us, Joanna. You're still the same bright, intelligent girl that I met before. Chances are you're going to outlive all of us for a very long time. So I just hope that the lessons we taught you stick.
There is one thing that goes beyond our mortality, and that is knowledge. And you have imparted much onto me. So I will always remember you for that. And I hope that you will continue to impart knowledge onto me. Everything I said to you as individuals, I mean it. Nothing changes.
We ran into a lot of things out in the world. Some of them you personally saw. There's a lot more little girls that I have to go help, so I can't stay here.
And I respect that.
I understand why you couldn't tell us. How can you explain such a thing? The concept before I saw it was so far out there that I don't think I could have understand even if you wrote me a book about it.
That might.
I wouldn't have been able to show you either. I cannot do what my father did to myself. So there is no way that I could explain outside of words, which, before we met, I could not speak them. How could I have told you? Besides, I was worried that there's a chance you could have thought me monster.
You're just a little girl. You're not a monster.
You're Braun's little sister, definitely not a monster.
Your birth is not normal, that is clear, but look at me.
So neither is yours,
not
Valmir.
normal either. How could I hate you for having strange birth when I am also like this?
Zedaar will just kind of pat her on the head and say,
The shell doesn't matter. It's what's up here.
2 horns in my case.
She laughs.
I'm going to take out the lavender plant that I took from the place where we fought the spidery doodads and put it on a shelf.
Okay, yeah, there's many shelves around. It just looks nice.
Yeah. You take care of this plant. It's got the same color as me, so you can remember us if we do not stay here in the same place.
Well, if there's nothing else, I feel like I must make an appearance in the Festung for the first time in a long time. I would be honored if you all joined me.
If that is what you wish, of course.
Then, come. Let us go. And the Duke leads you out of the corridor to the tower main elevator system that you've seen before. And you begin to descend. And the the elevator descends first into the similar tower that you've seen before with various doors on various levels. But after a while, it opens into a huge council chamber with seats all around. The elevator becoming the centerpiece as it lowers. Seats appear for essentially most of you, like a rounded area, and a platformed plinth in the center raises, and this central feature becomes the very heart of the council chamber. You see now around you many different individuals of various species, race, warforge, humans, gnomes, the learned elite of Legoland's land surrounding the chamber, murmuring, talking, some of them awestruck. The elevator comes to a halt, and the Iron Duke stands at the plinth, directing his attention to everyone around him. You see him put his hand on a small globe on the center of the plinth, and his voice echoes throughout the room. It has been a very, very long time since I last stepped foot into the innermost sanctum of the Festung. And spoke to you all. Both my mind and my heart retreated behind the thick walls of our great capital and our nation when I began to lose hope. In the 75 years since you have seen me, you have done well in running my nation. But with this, the return of the heir, the direct approach will return. The exact politics we, I'm assured, will hash out. But for now, please, help me honor those who returned the heart to our nation.
This is when we hear all of the cheering.
And he turns to all of you. A Warforged of the Honor Guard seems to be steps up to the plinth that you're on, the elevated position that you're on, up a small staircase that seems to have connected, holding a pillow. It's a purple pillow. On it with seems to be awards. I name all of you, all of the members of the Skyfire Adventuring Company that have done a great service to this nation, as true heroes of Legoran's land. And he begins to pin a golden seal, each with a different color crystal. There is sort of heraldry around it of what seems to be a wing as well, encapsulating this circlet with then the gem inside. To Miss Ruby, a gem of brilliant red. To the wise Zedaar, a gem of pure silver. To Valmir, an amethyst of the deepest purple. To Master Skyspan, gem as brilliant a blue as the sky above our great nation. To Master Reynard, a gem of green that is kinship with one who I call kin my own. And to you, Braun, the rarest color of gem. And he presents Braun with the same signature as you, but with this deep, it's kind of purplish, but it's almost black gem. I name you all as Knights of the Crystal Order, the highest and most revered honor position within this nation. Please, stand and be welcomed as people of this nation. And basically, the entire room erupts into applause. And as you are granted these medals and these awards, we will go ahead and leave this season here. So, with the honors abound to our player characters, we will say thank you to everyone who's been watching tonight. I know it's been a slightly shorter broadcast, but I feel like that this is a good place to leave off for the first season of the Elendor Chronicles. As always, I have been joined by the wonderful Mordred Viking, Lord Lambert, Commissar Roach, DM Opal, and DM Lake. And please join us for another season starting next year. I've been Midgeman. This has been the Elendor Chronicles on the Component Cast. Have a lovely winter holidays, no matter what you believe in. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.
Turtles.
Bye,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.